Okay, so is hip-hop a sport? I mean, think about it. You've got the lyrical battles, the diss tracks, the whole fight for dominance.
It really does make you wonder.
Well, today we're diving deep into a court case that just might prove hip-hop is a sport. It's Drake versus his own record label, UMG.
This is a wild one.
You've got a stack of legal papers and news articles in front of you,
Yep, boxes and boxes.
and we're going to break it all down for you.
This case really goes way beyond just like your typical celebrity feud. I mean, it gets us thinking, where's the line between creative expression, just going for it with your art, and straight up defamation, especially in the world of diss tracks?
So just to set the scene, spring 2024, we've got a full-blown rap battle raging between Drake and Kendrick Lamar.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, these guys are dropping diss tracks like lyrical bombshells. It's a back and forth, no holds barred.
And don't forget, we are not talking about small-time rappers here.
These are the heavy hitters.
These are two of the biggest names in the game.
Absolutely.
So we've got Drake, this global superstar,
Right.
signed with UMG back in 2009. I mean, he sold over 170 million albums.
He's a certified hitmaker.
Huge.
And Lamar.
Also no slouch.
I mean, the guy's got Grammys for days.
Signed with UMG's Interscope label. I mean, tons of critical acclaim.
So this is basically a clash of the titans.
This is it. This is like Ali versus Frazier.
Now, the track that really set this whole legal firestorm off is Lamar's Not Like Us.
Yeah.
And this song, it's basically like a lyrical takedown of Drake.
Yeah.
Lamar's hitting him where it hurts, his reputation, ego, you name it.
Oh, it gets so juicy.
I mean, we're talking brutal insults, personal digs, the whole 9 yards.
Everything.
But here's where the plot twist comes in. Drake is suing UMG, his own label, for defamation,
Wow.
claiming Not Like Us damaged his reputation.
Suing your own label. Talk about turning on your teammate in the middle of a championship game.
It's wild.
And the crazy thing is, Not Like Us, it became a massive hit. It was the best-selling rap song of 2024. They played it at the Super Bowl. It was everywhere. So it's almost ironic that a song at the center of such a bitter legal battle, it basically blew up and became this cultural phenomenon.
So let's rewind a bit and just understand how we got here. This rap battle wasn't some random outburst. It had been brewing for a while.
Right.
Like it had been simmering.
It started back in late 2023 when Drake and J. Cole, they dropped this track called First Person Shooter,
Okay.
where they basically declared themselves like the big three of hip-hop.
Oh, really?
They even included Lamar in the mix.
Oh, talk about adding fuel to the fire. So
Yeah.
Lamar's not just going to sit back and take that, right?
Absolutely not. He claps back with like that in March 2024,
Huh?
basically saying, hold up, there's only one big in this game, and it ain't you.
Shots fired. And from there, it's on.
Totally.
Drake retaliates with push-ups in April, taking aim at Lamar's height, his career, you name it.
And then things get really interesting.
Oh, yeah.
Drake, he goes on Instagram and drops tailor-made freestyle. And in this track, he uses AI to mimic the voices of Tupac and Snoop Dogg to taunt Lamar. Can you imagine?
Tupac and Snoop Dogg. It's like he brought out the ultimate ringer.
I know. And on top of that, Drake practically dared Lamar to address those rumors about his interest in, shall we say, younger women.
Oh, he poked the bear.
Oh, yeah. And Lamar, being Lamar, he went right for the jugular. He released Euphoria and 6.1 Sin in LA, where he called Drake a scam artist, and he even questioned his blackness. It got so personal.
Oh, what does Drake do?
Drake fires back with Family Matters,
Okay.
suggesting Lamar was a fake activist and even claiming Lamar was cheating on his fiancée.
Whoa. That's crossing a line.
Yeah, I mean, diss tracks are one thing, but bringing somebody's family into it, that's cold.
Yeah.
Then we get Meet the Grams, where Lamar disses Drake's family right back. Just complete escalation.
It was a full-on lyrical tennis match with each player trying to hit a winner.
Totally. And that brings us to the song at the heart of this whole lawsuit. It's Not Like Us, which was released on May 4, 2024. Lamar continues with his lyrical assault. He goes after Drake's OVO brand, and he even hints at violence.
Right, and he even brought up those rumors that Drake had basically invited him to address. I mean, Lamar's rapping lines like, say, Drake, I hear you like him young. And he makes references that could be interpreted as accusations of, well,
He did.
he even brings up that, controversial incident where Drake was filmed kissing a 17-year-old girl at a concert and the whole Millie Bobby Brown situation, which, let's be honest, was already out there in the public eye.
Totally.
It was all over the news.
It was.
But does Drake just sit back and take it?
Nope. He counters with The Heart Part 6,
Okay.
where he doubles down on some pretty serious claims about Lamar's personal life.
Oh, wow.
It really is almost Shakespearean, this back and forth, a tragic comedy of ego and lyrical warfare.
So we've got these two hip-hop heavyweights going head-to-head. They're dropping diss tracks that are brutal, but also brilliant.
Huh.
And now Drake is suing his own label because of one of those tracks.
Yeah.
It's like something out of a movie.
It really makes you think about the boundaries of artistic expression, especially in a genre that thrives on pushing those boundaries.
So we're going to unpack all of this, right?
Yeah.
The legal arguments, the cultural implications, and whether this whole case proves that hip-hop is, in fact, a full contact sport.
Let's do it. I mean, this whole thing, it really is a perfect example of what makes hip-hop so unique.
Okay.
It's a genre that challenges norms, pushes boundaries, speaks truth to power, and, sometimes just straight up roasts your rivals.
But even in a world where lyrical battles are practically a rite of passage, there's got to be some lines, right?
Exactly. And that's what's so fascinating about this lawsuit.
Mm-hmm.
It makes us examine those lines,
Yeah.
What's acceptable in a rap battle, and when does trash talk become defamation? It's complicated.
It really is.
Yeah.
So let's get into the legal nitty-gritty. Drake is claiming Not Like Us is defamatory,
Right.
and that UMG, by releasing and promoting it, they knowingly damaged his reputation.
They knew what they were doing.
He's arguing that those lyrics contain false statements, that they're presented as facts, and that UMG acted with malice.
So they intended to harm him.
Yeah. He even claims the song is harassment and incites violence.
Wow.
Harassment and incitement to violence. That seems like a stretch, even for a diss track as savage as Not Like Us.
That's exactly what UMG is arguing. Their
Right.
defense is basically, come on, this is hip-hop. We're talking diss tracks, lyrical jabs, not statements of fact.
So they're playing the context is everything card.
Exactly. They're saying, look, both Drake and Lamar, they were going at it in this very public rap battle. They were throwing shade. It was all fair game.
Plus, Drake had already publicly addressed those controversies that Lamar brought up and Not Like Us.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like they were secrets.
Exactly. And UMG, they're also pointing out that there's no private right of action for that criminal statute that Drake cites in his harassment claim.
So basically, you can't directly sue someone for that specific statute.
Right.
That part of the lawsuit seems shaky.
And then you've got the incitement to violence claim.
Right.
It's very unlikely that a court would look at those lyrics and say, oh, yeah, that's actual incitement under the law.
Yeah.
Especially because Drake himself, he's used similar violent metaphors in his own diss tracks. I mean, remember when he rapped, "You're dead, there's nowhere to hide."
That's pretty intense.
Right. It's like he's saying, well, I can threaten you, but you can't threaten me.
Talk about a double standard.
And remember when Drake signed that petition, the one criticizing the use of rap lyrics as evidence in criminal cases?
Oh, yeah.
Well, UMG is throwing that right back in his face. They're saying, look, you're contradicting your own stance.
The irony. So UMG is basically saying, this is hip-hop. It's a contact sport. If you can't take the heat, get out of the kitchen.
That's a great way to put it.
But there's another layer to this whole thing, this legal drama. Drake is also claiming that UMG manipulated the popularity of Not Like Us,
Okay.
basically to make it even bigger than it would have been organically.
Right.
It's like the whole pay-for-play allegations.
Yeah.
Drake is saying that UMG was secretly pulling strings to boost Lamar's track and sabotage him.
So he's accusing them of using bots to inflate the streaming numbers?
Yeah, and paying radio stations to play more often.
But, according to the legal documents, those accusations are pretty weak.
Really?
I mean, the bot claim relies on this anonymous source on a Twitch stream. And even that person, they said they were hired by Lamar's manager, not UMG.
So not exactly a smoking gun.
No. And as for the payola allegations, well, paying for radio play, it happens. It's a pretty common practice in the music industry. I mean, it's not illegal, though some might consider it ethically questionable.
So maybe those claims are more about just generating bad publicity for UMG than having any real legal weight?
It's possible that Drake's just hoping to sway public opinion, even if he can't actually win in court.
Okay, so let's shift gears a little bit and talk about the wider implications of this case. Let's say, hypothetically, Drake loses.
Okay.
What does that mean for the world of hip-hop?
That's the big question, isn't it?
It is?
A lot of people, they worry that if the ruling goes against Drake, it'll have a chilling effect on creative expression in hip-hop.
Like rappers would be afraid to drop diss tracks because they're worried about getting sued.
Exactly. It could make artists think twice before writing those really edgy, controversial lyrics that have always been such a big part of the genre.
That would be a shame. I mean,
Yeah.
hip-hop has always been about pushing boundaries, challenging the status quo. It needs that freedom to be raw and real.
It does. And we can't forget the historical context. I mean, hip hop, it emerged from marginalized communities, giving a voice to those who were often silenced.
Right.
It's always been a platform for speaking truth to power, for expressing anger, frustration, joy, everything.
And diss tracks are a part of that tradition.
They are.
It's like a way for artists to challenge each other, to compete, to settle scores.
Right. It's a verbal sparring match, a battle of wits and rhymes.
And it's not always pretty.
But it's real.
It is. So if this lawsuit leads to a situation where rappers are afraid to diss each other,
Mhm.
wouldn't that be like taking away a fundamental element of hip-hop culture?
I think it would. It could lead to a more sanitized, less authentic version of the genre.
And that's not what anyone wants.
Raw.
We want hip-hop to stay raw, stay real, keep pushing those boundaries.
Absolutely. Because at the end of the day, hip hop is about more than just the music.
Yeah.
It's a culture, it's a movement, it's a way of life. It's about expressing yourself without fear, without holding back.
So going back to this idea of hip-hop as a sport, I mean, we've got the competition, we've got the trash talk, we've got the battle for dominance. It's all there.
It really is a fight for respect, for recognition, for a place in the pantheon of hip hop greats.
And just like in any other sport, you've got winners and losers.
Right.
But in hip-hop, I feel like the stakes are even higher. It's not just about bragging rights.
No.
It's about your reputation, your credibility, your legacy.
And especially in the age of social media where everything is amplified.
Totally.
I mean, the impact of a diss track, it can be huge.
So if we're going with this idea that hip-hop is a sport, then this lawsuit, it's like challenging the outcome of a game in court.
Right.
It's like saying, hey, ref, that last punch was below the belt. But the question is,
Yeah.
who's the ref in the world of hip-hop?
Right. Is it the courts? Is it the fans? Is it the artists themselves?
That's a good question.
It really is the debate we're having right now.
Yeah.
And the outcome of this case, it could have a huge impact on how those rules are defined in the future.
Okay. So we've talked a lot about, the downsides of a ruling against Drake, but let's be real. There's a good chance he loses this thing.
Yeah.
I mean, UMG's arguments, they seem pretty solid.
They do have some very strong points.
Yep.
Their main defense comes down to a few key things. Number one, they're saying the content of Not Like Us, it's clearly opinion and hyperbole,
Right.
which is normal in diss tracks. It's not meant to be taken as literal fact.
Like, lighten up, Drake. It's just a rap battle.
Exactly. And the courts, they've actually recognized this distinction in the past. Like there was this case, Rappaport v. Barstool Sports, and the court basically ruled that insults and hyperbole, even if they're harsh, they're not necessarily defamatory when it's part of like a public feud.
So UMG is using that case as a precedent.
As precedent, exactly. They're saying, look, Drake and Lamar, they were both willingly participating in this back and forth. They were throwing punches. They knew the rules of the game.
But Drake's claiming that UMG acted with actual malice, meaning they knew those statements in Not Like Us were false, or they recklessly disregarded the truth.
Right, and that's where it gets tricky because proving actual malice, it's a high bar, especially when we're talking about public figures like Drake. It's not enough to show that the statements were false. He's got to prove that UMG knew they were false, or they acted recklessly, like they didn't care.
So, like, Drake needs to find that smoking gun.
Exactly. And so far, he hasn't really given any hard evidence to suggest that UMG knew those statements were false or that they were reckless.
It just doesn't seem likely that UMG would release a song, especially one involving one of their biggest stars, if they knew it was defamatory.
Right. It just wouldn't make sense from a business perspective. It's not in their interest to damage Drake's reputation.
Not at all. And let's not forget, they put out all of Drake's diss tracks, including the one where he made those really serious accusations against Lamar.
Right.
So if they were okay releasing that, why would they draw the line at Not Like Us? Doesn't really add up.
It seems a little inconsistent. So yeah, taking all of that into account, the odds of Drake actually winning this lawsuit, they're not looking good.
Okay, so let's say the worst case scenario happens. Drake loses this legal battle. What's a rapper supposed to do after taking an L this big?
Well, the great thing about hip-hop is it's all about resilience.
Okay.
It's about bouncing back from setbacks. So there are a ton of ways Drake could turn this loss into a win.
Okay, I'm all ears. Give me some strategies.
Well, first, he could just embrace the meme.
Okay.
Imagine if he dropped a track called Certified L-Boy.
That's hilarious.
A self-aware anthem about taking the loss.
I could hear the beat already.
Or he could flip the script.
Okay.
and release a track praising Lamar's lyrical skills. That would be a huge power move.
Like taking the high road.
Showing he's not afraid to acknowledge his opponent's talent.
Okay.
Or, get this. He could create a whole line of merch that says, I got my ass whooped by Kendrick,
Yeah.
and then donate the proceeds to like a music education charity.
That is brilliant.
Right.
It's self-deprecating, it's charitable, it's genius.
It's a total boss move. It shows he's got a sense of humor about the whole thing.
No.
And let's not forget about the power of collaboration. I mean, imagine Drake and Lamar, they team up for a track after all of this, like a reconciliation anthem that just breaks the internet.
Now that would be epic.
Right. The point is, losing a rap battle, even in court, it doesn't have to be the end. It can be an opportunity to grow, to reinvent yourself, to show the world you're more than just your wins and losses.
So it's not about avoiding the L, it's about how you handle it,
Yeah.
how you come back stronger.
It's all about that champion mentality.
So what's the big takeaway from all of this? What does this case tell us about the state of hip-hop right now?
I think it really highlights this idea that hip-hop is at a crossroads. It's become this global phenomenon, this multi-billion-dollar industry,
Yeah.
but it's still wrestling with its roots, with its identity.
It's trying to balance its street cred with its mainstream success.
Right. In this case, it's the perfect example of those tensions playing out, but in the legal arena. It really is kind of mind-blowing when you think about it, how hip-hop has gone from these underground battles to like a global force.
Oh, yeah.
The rules of engagement have definitely changed along the way, especially with social media just like throwing gasoline on every single beef.
True. Diss tracks can go viral in seconds now. You reach millions of people instantly. So it's not just about, proving yourself on a track anymore.
Wow.
It's about shaping that whole narrative online.
And that adds a whole other line of pressure to this Drake and UMG case, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because we're talking about potential damage to an artist's brand, their earnings, like their entire career.
The stakes are huge.
So high.
It's like the Wild West out there. Everyone's fighting for their place. And the line between just a clever diss and a truly personal attack, it gets really blurry.
It does, and that's where the legal system is really playing catch up.
Yeah.
Like, how do you take these traditional defamation laws and apply them to this genre that's practically built on exaggeration and wordplay and, lyrical one-upmanship?
It's a tricky balance. We want to, of course, protect artists from malicious attacks.
Of course.
But you don't want to stifle the creativity and that freedom of expression that really makes hip-hop so powerful.
Right, you got to find that sweet spot where artists can push boundaries, but without, actually causing real harm.
Okay, let's play a little what-if game. Let's say the court sides with UMG and throws out Drake's lawsuit.
Okay.
What kind of message would that send to the hip-hop community?
That would be a huge win for free speech advocates.
It would.
It would really reinforce this idea that hip-hop is a space where artists can experiment, they can provoke, and even just roast their rivals.
Yeah.
Without having to worry about constantly getting sued.
So basically, the court would be saying, look, this is how hip-hop works. You've got trash talk, you've got boasts, you've got challenges, and it's all part of the game.
Exactly. We trust the hip-hop community to regulate itself.
To determine its own boundaries.
Right, without needing the legal system to, step in and be the referee.
But what about, that potential for harm? I mean, if you give hip-hop artists this kind of freedom, won't that lead to even more personal attacks and damaging accusations flying around?
It's a valid concern, but the thing is, hip-hop has always had its own ways of regulating itself internally.
Right.
The community will call out artists who go too far, who cross that line between clever wordplay and just, truly damaging personal attacks.
Like an unwritten code of conduct.
Yeah. Even in a battle, there are certain lines that you just don't cross.
And social media actually amplifies that, right?
It does.
I mean, it can be a very powerful tool for holding artists accountable. If somebody goes too far, the fans will let them know.
They will. So it's almost like this self-policing system within the hip-hop community.
And ultimately, that might be a healthier approach than relying on the legal system to regulate something that's so fluid and dynamic as artistic expression.
It might be.
Okay, so as we wrap up this whole deep dive into Drake v. UMG, one thing is definitely clear. There are no easy answers. This case just highlights that complex intersection of hip-hop culture, free speech, and, just the challenge of applying these legal frameworks to artistic expression.
It's a conversation that's just starting, and we'll be talking about this for years to come. It makes you think about the power of words, the impact of creativity, and what happens when those two collide.
We explored the drama, the legal battles, and the blurry lines between, like, art and the law. Now it's your turn to ponder this. Is hip-hop a game? And if so, what are the rules?
This deep dive wasn't just about Drake and Lamar. It
Oh,
was
yeah.
about the heart and soul of hip hop.
Absolutely.
It's a reminder that the things we love, like music and competition, can get really complicated.
So it's worth thinking about where we draw the line between creative freedom and, just being responsible.
It is.
Well, that wraps up our deep dive into Drake v. UMG. Hope you guys enjoyed this wild ride through the world of hip-hop, the law, and that age-old question of where to draw the line. Until next time, stay curious and keep those lyrical battles going, responsibly, of course.